What does it take to see the worth in someone the world has forgotten? For Clara Johnson, it started with a single act of kindness in a rundown diner on the edge of a crumbling city. Every night for years, she served a plate of warm food to a man named Tom, a homeless veteran who shuffled in with tattered boots and a quiet dignity that clung to him like a shadow. Clara, a black waitress in her late 30s, had little herself long shifts, aching feet, and a life scraped together from tips, but she saw something in Tom's weathered face that others missed. His eyes held stories of loss, of battles fought, of a life left behind. Clara's diner, a flickering neon relic on a forgotten street, was her world. She poured coffee, cracked jokes, and listened to the dreams and complaints of truckers, loners, and dreamers who passed through. But Tom was different. He never asked for anything, just sat in the corner booth, staring at his hands as if they held the weight of his past. Clara started smell a free coffee here, a leftover slice of pie there. Soon, it became a ritual. Every night, she'd slide a plate of meatloaf or pancakes in front of him, waving off his protests. "Your family now," she'd say, her voice firm but warm. Tom would nod, his gratitude silent but deep. Years passed. Clara's life wasn't easy. Bills piled up, and her dreams of a better future faded under the grind of survival. Yet she never stopped feeding Tom. She didn't know his full story, only that he'd served in a war long ago, that he'd lost his way home. She didn't need to know more. To her, he was a person, not a problem. The diner's owner, a gruff man named Eddie, noticed her generosity and grumbled about costs, but even he couldn't bring himself to stop her. Clara had a way of making the world feel softer, even in its hardest corners. Then came the twist no one saw coming. One rainy night, a young woman slipped into the diner, her eyes scanning the room like she was searching for a ghost. She introduced herself as Lily, Tom's estranged daughter. She'd been looking for him for years, piecing together clues from old letters and rumors. When she found him in Clara's diner, alive and cared for, her tough exterior cracked. She hugged Clara, tears streaming, and whispered, "You saved him." Lily's arrival changed everything. She began visiting Tom regularly, and slowly, the man who'd been invisible to the world started to come back to life. Clara watched, her heart swelling, as father and daughter rebuilt what time had broken. Clara's own life took a turn when she met Marcus, a kind-hearted mechanic who loved her laughter and her stubborn hope. Their romance was quiet but fierce, and when he proposed, Clara said yes with a joy she hadn't felt in years. The wedding was simple, held in a community hall with folding chairs and homemade cake. Clara wore a second-hand dress, her smile brighter than any diamond. As she walked down the aisle, the room buzzed with friends, co-workers, and regulars from the diner. Tom was there too, clean-shaven and in a borrowed suit, sitting beside Lily, who squeezed his hand. Then, the doors swung open. 12 Marines in crisp dress blues marched in, their boots echoing in perfect unison. The room fell silent, every eye on the formation. Clara froze, her heart pounding. The lead Marine stepped forward, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "Ma'am, we served with Tom. He told us what you did for him, how you gave him a reason to keep going. We're here to honor you." They saluted, a single, sharp motion, and the room erupted in applause. Clara's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Tom, who stood tall, pride in his face for the first time in years. The Marines stayed for the reception, sharing stories of Tom's courage and Clara's kindness. They toasted to second chances, to family found in unlikely places. Clara realized her small acts had rippled further than she'd ever imagined. She hadn't just fed a man. She'd reminded him and others that humanity still mattered. As the night ended, Clara stood with Marcus, watching their guests dance under string lights. Tom approached, his voice soft. "You gave me back my life, Clara. Thank you." She hugged him, feeling the weight of every plate she'd served, every smile she'd shared. In that moment, she knew kindness wasn't just a gesture. It was a force strong enough to mend broken souls and bring strangers together in formation. Yindi.